My people were biologically determined for one purpose alone, to sense the coming of damn fine podcasts. I sense it coming now.
All right. Hello and welcome to Star Trek. No, this isn't Star Trek Discovery. This is welcome to a Discovery Home Companion, where we are our companions in this long hall, holding each other up, getting through this, and we are here at the end.
You will never be able to podcast as good as us. Your tongue is too human.
Only one episode to go in the first season of Star Trek Discovery, and we're here to talk about it with you. My name is Wade Bowen, and with me, as always, is James Nolan.
Hey, guys.
And Hugh Crawford.
Hello.
We don't have a whole lot to go over about developments in the Star Trek blogosphere or zeitgeist or whatever the fuck is going on. I don't have a whole lot more.
It's all been pretty quiet on the zeitgeist front, on the Star Trek cultural zeitgeist.
I am perusing an Ars Technica novel, or not novel, an Ars Technica article, and they do refer to Ash Tyler as a Klingduckin, which is pretty fun.
Oh yeah, the Annalee Newitt's. Yeah, I read that article too. She's good. I read her book. It's all about robots in the future.
Like a fiction book, or like a...
Yeah, it's fiction. It's like I told you all about it. I went to the book signing or thing, and they did a reading from it.
Yep.
It's like Neuromancer, but with gene patents and shit like that. And then there's also AI intelligence. And, yeah, it's pretty good. Anyways, yeah, so I guess that's a plug for Annalee Newitt's book. And
the term Klingduckin.
Klingduckin, yeah. That is a pretty good term. A Klingon and a human and a Klingon's psyche, but with a human psyche squirted into it like a jelly donut.
Yeah. One time I priced out doing a turducken, and I said, fuck it.
Oh, yeah. Not worth it.
Not worth the price I'd have to pay to make that turducken.
But what is worth it is the phone calls.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I was like, I was about to, let me tell you about what I had for Thanksgiving one year. Or yeah, I guess you're here to hear us talk to you and the phone calls and whatever about the war without, the war within. I guess we were tired after that episode. Let's see how you guys felt. First off here, we got one from a good friend of ours, Adam P. Newton at Drive Time.
Oh, Adam.
Good morning, gentlemen. This is Adam P. Newton at Drive Time on the Twitter machine. This is 7:04 on Tuesday morning. I just finished listening to the new episode, the new podcast, on my drive into work, and I have to say that I feel as exasperated as the three of you do collectively. I was on board with this show because it was Star Trek. Like you guys said, there's been a brand loyalty. This is my brand. This is who I am. I love things that are Star Trek. But after a while, you have to critically stand back and critically think, is this good entertainment? Are these good stories? Is this interesting? And I have to say no. They're not a ton of good stories. They're not... The show isn't interesting to me. I want to keep watching it because it's Star Trek. I don't want Star Trek to go away for 15 more years. So I'll probably keep paying to watch season 2. I will pay to watch season 2 because it's Star Trek, which kind of bums me out because this show fucking bums me out. Everything is transparent. All the reveals as they're coming, y'all see miles episodes away. And I said in the article, this show is all text. There is no subtext. And that just makes me tired as a viewer. It makes me tired as an appreciator of good stories. I'm going to watch this next episode. I want to see what they do for season 2, because if it ends on a cliffhanger where they find the Borg in an alternate universe, I will throw my television out the window and have to explain to my wife the next day. I just want a better story. I love Star Trek. I just want good stories. Bye.
We know that season 2 is going to be about a conflict between science and religion, and I'm sure they're going to be subtle as hell with that. I was thinking
Bring on the Cybok.
I mentioned that in the Discord that having Cybok show up in season 2 could actually be interesting. No, I mean, Adam is, if you've lost Adam, you've kind of lost the battle as far as like Star Trek is concerned.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess they technically haven't lost him because he's going to keep on watching.
Right. I mean, there's a certain, if you may have not lost the viewers, but you've lost the souls. It's a battle of for hearts and minds.
That's a good way to put it.
It's like, well, you've got, you can have my body, but you can't have my mind.
It's like if somebody besmirches the name of Star Trek in a bar, Adam would probably knock their teeth out, and then. But if they bring up Discovery, he'd have to stop like mid-punch. Be like, yeah, you got a point, and go quietly back to his drink.
Yeah, how's that for your Federation ideals? No, that's
right.
You quit the show. If you quit the show, if you lose him at the end of the first season, you got to get him back at the second season. Right. So I don't know. Let's say that the finale is disappointing as where we're at now. Generally, not ever. I mean, there's a lot of people liking the show, but like,
yeah, they're rebuilding from the war and everything's grim, dark, and war weary. And all
what
that
can you do in the off season to like get people really pumped? And the answer is that you basically have to admit it's a failure and move to pumping it up.
Well, I think they'll just have a bullshit cliffhanger.
Right.
I think that's how that's the easiest.
What I'm worried about is them trying to pump it up, as it were, and like, let's make it even more exciting. It's like, no, just slow it down. Slow the fuck down.
But they obviously have some sort of architecture like they have some sort of like structure in place. I mean, if they're going on blabbing about science and religion. For season 2, they already have it mapped out, I guess.
Well, they've got some of it mapped out. They
have something.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't guess for certain that they have the whole season broken already.
Well, they have a premise.
But they have a premise at least. Like, I'm hoping, because this season they had Brian Fuller's outline, which they claimed to stick to, but then they broke it in all different new ways. I think my hope is that maybe if they sit down with it and they can see what the fans like about this instead of going with what they thought Brian Fuller wanted to do or liked, and maybe they can like just slow it down, just spend some time like hanging out with your bridge crew or your med crew, or do an episode just about all the medical officers, and just like, I don't know, I was thinking myself about how I would try to fix this, but that was one thing I
well, I mean, the old shows would have they would rotate the focus on the characters.
Right, exactly.
You'd have and we don't really have that because everything is so every episode is actually a chapter of one's. We're watching one long Star Trek like Transformers movie,
right?
And every episode is essentially a chapter.
If you stop now without rebooting, and then you do a revolving around the cast. We said this before, but there's 4 cast members that we know the name of. So you have to assume that Michelle Yeoh will die. You have to assume that like Jane Brooks isn't going to be an everyday character. Sarek isn't going to be an everyday character. So that so without Lorca coming back or some dumb shit like that, you basically have Sarek, Tilly, Stamets, and I guess 5 and Ash Vok, whatever the fuck.
But you also have. I think even Sarek might not be much. Who can say? But that he might not be that much in season 2 because he says.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But
so you don't have so you literally just have 5. If Ash Vok survives, that's 5 characters.
But
then you just push the fader up on the people that you've already seen and give them names.
But that's like restocking the cast.
No, you have these background people. You've got Detmer, you've got Aram,
Ariam. They're already there and they have names and stuff. You just give them lines and stuff.
You do an episode like
it's not that hard of a fix, is what I'm saying.
One episode, a character. Just instead of building your episodes around plot.
Name outside of those 5 characters. Name one trait of their personality.
She's a robot.
That's my point. Yeah, exactly. But you don't have to recast them. You just give them
recast
lines.
Them. I just mean you have to spend a lot of time doing more introductory work.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I want, because we didn't really get introduced to these characters. We just got
we do get just shots of these people and we're like, wow, they seem cool.
Right. We still don't know what the fuck is up with the robot girl. Like, do an episode.
Well, she's in command though. She must be a lieutenant commander because she was in the captain's chair when Saru was away.
Right.
He got back on the bridge and she said, and that's a lieutenant commander.
Right. Like, you go back to TNG, we had like whole episodes about what the fuck is. Well, like we had half the show was about what the fuck is up with Data's deal. And she's a robot
What
person.
is-
Like, what the fuck is her
Right.
deal? Like, a regular Trek would have had an episode about the Doctor or this weird alien over here. And then Detmer's face shit. Like,
This is what we've had this conversation before. What I'm saying is that the creators of the show have to realize then that what they have on their hands is fundamentally a failure in the first season. I don't think they realize that. So what they're writing,
Yeah, that's why I'm not really hot on the prediction, because I
Yeah.
think that they're really proud of the world that they've crafted.
Right.
And that's why I really don't feel like they're going to reboot it. I think they're awfully proud
I
of
think
what they've
they
done.
might be too. My thing is, because I don't know what these showrunners do when they have to come up with their own outline. That's where I'm at.
Well, some of them are gone, right? They got jobs. Some people who
yeah.
worked on this got jobs to run other shows. American God.
but not the runner,
No.
not the runners.
No, Aaron and Gretchen are still going to be the showrunners.
And I think that probably Akiva Goldsman's out because he's doing the DC TV line.
He was
stuff.
just a.
He directed the finale according to IMDb.
Oh, yeah.
And that may be true, but like he's
Not.
I don't think
He's not going to be in the room writing. He wasn't necessarily in the room for this. I just brought him in for producer stuff to tell the room
Well,
what
I'm
to do
just
every now and
saying,
then.
if he personally directed the season finale,
You keep
what
saying that,
kind
okay,
of
but
you're
Akiva,
like?
Akiva Goldsman is a writer. They brought him in for writing stuff.
I guess my point is like that's an indication of what we might see.
But he wasn't in the room breaking every episode, and he wasn't the one.
I know,
breaking. I think we're having two
He might
different.
have been in the room re-breaking it after Fuller got left.
That's
After Fuller left.
That's what I'm. I mean, I think we're in agreement here. But yeah, but he might not.
But I'm saying that he had his dick in the story pie.
Sure, I think he did too. But
That's what I'm saying.
I know.
And so much so that he's like, I want to personally direct the season finale.
I think I have just in general when we talk about this, I think I have a broader definition of the writing that you do.
Well,
whatever ends up going into what they say and do on the show.
which for me has a lot of the room and the showrunners have their, and then you have these like rock star producers
Architects
coming in, like
that are
Kurtzman
the architects of everything.
and Akiva, who Les Moonves is just sent in and say, hey, go shake this stuff up. So I think we're in agreement that they have their dick in all this. Yes.
And so a lot of the story that wasn't working or was working is accredited to Akiva Goldsman and Alex Kurtzman.
Right.
So, and Alex Kurtzman, I mean, he may even be more hands-on because he's lost his Hollywood nest egg over the season. So he may be showing up to his second job more.
Right.
So
I guess in my head, them having their dicks in all this is less them really collaborating with the writers and coming in and saying you have to do it this way, and then they're stuck with a shit
Mandates.
sandwich.
Yeah, the thing is stuck. The thing is rotten with mandates.
Still part of writing.
The whole thing, yeah.
Still part of writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's still part of, but that's still part of the writing.
And that's why I want to give the writers' room more leeway in some ways, and then blame.
But we don't know.
I know. And also, a lot of time when I talk about, I mean, like I've said before, like I want to blame the system and like the suit and everything. And I'm using Akiva and Alex Kurtzman as kind of a shorthand for that.
Yeah.
So,
But then sometimes I feel like we veer into picking, like, well, the good stuff probably comes from these people because we like them. And then who knows?
right.
It's just the writing. Who knows who the writer was? So
Right.
despite what the credit says.
Right.
So it's just the writing is a mess.
All right. Well, we're all splitting hairs. Let's get to the next call.
Yeah. It's the schlocky stuff I feel like feels more of mandates and like people trying to figure stuff out.
I know, but that was still guessing.
And yeah, and a lot of it comes down to I like these people more than I like Akiva and Alex. So I'm going to say, yeah, I'm biased. I'll admit it. All right. Here we have a call from another friend of the Kickers of Elves, Hullabaloo. We have Stefan here.
Hello guys, this is Stefan. Talking about the last episode of Discovery, which I liked. And I liked it in isolation, simply because it gives us a lot of stuff we haven't really had before, like actual world building about the Klingon War and the state of the Federation. There's not a massive info dump where Cornwell and Serac tell us what's been going on for the last 9 months. And more of that with Cornwell's talk with Laurel, and so there's an actual role playing. I like that. Uh, this character's actually dealing with some of the ramifications of past episodes, and it has some more space friend solving problems. So I like that. Discovery does pretty good soft reboots, and this is yet another one. It raises the stakes again. Taken in the context of the whole season, I do have the issue with the whole Loka was Mira thing. Loka being Mira all this time doesn't seem to have anything to do with anything in this episode. Loka was bad. Everyone moves on and focuses on the new ship. Their captain, who's been how long has it been? A year, something like that. Who's been confidently guiding them through the war in the mirror universe is an imposter. No, it's fine. Move on. Okay. The cafeteria scene. I have to agree very strongly with James here. If it had been just Tilly sitting down with Tyler, that would have been fine. It would have been the beginning of Tyler being accepted, whatever. But all these other guys joining them to sit down, it's overkill. It simplifies a very complicated situation. And other stuff. You guys mentioned Sarek mind raping Saru, which is something that could be easily avoided. I think Cornwell breaks the Prime Directive with the terraforming mission. Shooting an alien spore into a planet to make it grow fast is probably going to fuck up the natural development of that world. So far, the makers of this show don't really understand what the Prime Directive is about, so I'm not surprised. The prediction is on track, I think. The Federation is in a bad way, and by the looks of it, they're gonna do a lot worse. With one episode to go, I do have to wonder if they're gonna implement the prediction this season. We'll see. James said it was the worst episode of Discovery yet. I think it's probably one of the better ones, but it's still very bottom basement for Trek. The characters still make dumb decisions, and the people who make this show still want me, the viewer, to gloss over a lot and not worry about it too much. I'm not that kind of viewer. That's my take on it. One more to go, guys.
Well, I've got the original definition of the Prime Directive from the 1968 episode Bread and Circuses. It says, quote, no identification of self or mission, no interference with social development of said planet, no references to space or the fact that there are other worlds or civilizations. And then it goes on to be elaborated on that the guiding principle of the United Federation of Planets prohibiting protagonists from interfering with the internal development of alien civilizations. It seems to be that the Prime Directive is mostly about interfering with the progress of civilizations,
right,
and not necessarily barren moons.
Yeah, there's no one.
Even though that science fiction, I will say he does have a point. Science fiction has had many stories where the ecological like the development of a planet is like something that's controversial, like whether or not humanity can just roll up to.
Was it that it was lifeless or that it was sentient life?
I think the Prime Directive kind of is more dealing with sentient
cultures.
Life. Yeah, but
cultures specifically, the development, the internal development of alien civilizations.
But if you have sentient life, you might.
So we don't care about. I mean, like ant colonies or.
I mean, if there's crabgrass on a moon, nobody gives two shits
Right.
if you terraform it for spores.
Even though on a genetic level, it's pretty arbitrary, the difference.
Well, that's what the whole. Have you guys ever read Kim Stanley Robinson's Red Mars?
Nope.
That's the whole book.
Oh yeah.
There's a group of international team of explorers go to Mars in the year 2020, and this was written like 30 years ago, and it was all based on the fact of the day.
Yeah.
Like, it was written in 19 something, 80 or 90 something. But anyway, long and the short of it, there's these two factions of scientists are divided about how much they can impact the natural ecology of Mars. Just by being there, they're disrupting it. So he's not wrong in the spirit of what like human exploration should try to strive to do. But he is wrong that specifically General Order 1 or the Prime Directive is referring to civilizations and their advancement. He makes a lot of other good points.
A mostly positive take on that episode that James asserts was the worst one yet.
Yeah, I do.
I still don't really agree with that. Feels a little hyperbolic to me, but that's fine.
I mean, I don't know. What would you label as the worst?
Well, I think just going straight to Trump Lorca was pretty bad.
He was talking about when they come back.
I said this episode was the worst. This was the worst episode of this season.
And I don't think so. Because I think scenes in this one were written pretty well. Like, even as dumb as...
The Michelle Yao Sarek scene comparing their daughters was very, I thought, really good. It was a highlight.
Y'all really hated the breakup scene. I thought the breakup scene, he was being selfish and stupid and not realizing that, you tried to kill me, so fuck off. But, like, breakups, usually one person is kind of irrational and stupid, and I thought her take on it was pretty good.
When I was editing that, what I realized, the point that I didn't make on that, is why is this even the fucking conversation they're having? Like, I don't...
Yeah, that's a good
Like,
word.
I don't understand it. Like, that's my biggest problem.
That's where I agree with you. The setup of their relationship, the stakes, and I don't really care so much about it, but
I guess I'm even saying that, like, even after taking into account all the shit that happened, that's not the conversation that comes back about it. The conversation is, it's like, I mean, no offense to you, buddy, but you are a minor part of my life, and you're a fucking Klingon.
But
I'm not saying you should die. I'm not saying whatever. but I'm saying that the nascent seeds of our relationship needs to get snuffed out, and I don't understand why I have to be your fucking rock for this.
It wasn't a minor thing. It was a big deal to her. This is like a major breakup. This is the first guy she's ever loved.
They do make a point of that.
And it's such a big betrayal. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I still think that, like, what I think a sensible woman in that situation would just say, I'm fucking busy. We're in the middle of fucking World War 1000. I don't have to understand why I even have to deal with this fucking shit right now.
That's basically what she gave him, though. She was like, listen...
No, but she had to go and tell. I don't know. Like,
he was like, oh, and he was being selfish. Like, oh,
they were having a relationship conversation when they don't have a relationship problem. They have he's a fucking he's like
right.
They don't have a relationship problem.
They do.
That's why it was so absurd that's why it was so absurd whenever he was like, you just quit when it got hard, and she's like, bro, you're Kling ducking.
You were a fucking secret Klingon. You're not what I thought you were.
Right, but that's like, that makes perfect sense to me. Like, especially Time's Up, like a dude being selfish and thinking the world revolves around them.
But why does she?
They were in and the show. I mean, as much as I thought their relationship I was not invested in it. The show is established for whatever, that we're supposed to think that there's a very big important relationship.
All right, well, there's another gross aspect to this show that could make it in the running for worst ever, and that was the fact that every scene that Burnham had with one of her coworkers, they were trying to get her to go and like talk to the boyfriend who almost choked her out. It was kind of gross because they were trying to push her to go see somebody who was obviously an abusive. It was Mallory Ortberg who said that they were using in her recap. It says how one of the things that got me hollering at my television was how both Saru and Tilly pressured Burnham to go into going and seeing Tyler in the seemingly intentional use of domestic violence language. Quote, he's lost his badge, end quote. Quote, he'll never fly again, end quote. Quote, he's not the same person, end quote. Obviously, the dynamics of the situation are different, in so much as Tyler was never in control of Vox's actions, but the parallels are numerous and apparently on purpose. It ... did not work for me.
Yeah.
And I felt like that.
Kristen on the Discord, I believe, said that element of the show felt real to her because she knows that women in abusive situations also often have a lot of peer pressure to reconnect with the abuser. And I'm like, yeah, that's not what I want to see. Yeah. And so that, like, the reason that's realistic isn't like, I mean, this isn't I, Tanya. This is Star Trek. And so, like, the idea that reads
How
realistic.
about using Federation ideals to get back to your abuser? Like, we're elevated humanity.
And so
You should go talk to him again.
Yeah, and so all of this stuff is just like, it's just not even the conversation. It's not even where the relationship is at this moment. It's trying to treat this as a romance. Like, that wasn't it. I don't know. I don't. And so it just feels empty. It seems like it's everything that this show is that they're constantly, like, the camera, not literally the camera, but their viewpoint. It's constantly focused on the wrong thing.
I get that. Yeah, I agree.
Like, you
with
think
that
about the
much.
whole, like, everything about this show has just been sort of focused on the wrong thing. That was one of those scenes where I'm like, I don't even know, like, the particulars of what they were talking about, because the whole time I was just like, the fact that they're even having this fucking Sam and Diane conversation, when it got too real, you left. It wasn't because it got, no, I'm like, what? This isn't the story.
It's a story, though. I mean, yeah, and like structurally, I get it, but
that's kind of thin soup, though. You got to admit.
I don't agree that their relationship was earned or deserved. And you make very good points about like the abuse kind of dynamic of it, but just structurally, it's a well enough written scene when they were looking at it the wrong way, exactly like you said. But as like a relationship breakup scene, it felt to me like I recognized it as such, and as one that wasn't horribly written.
I guess it's one of those, like, I haven't read anything of David Mamet's in the last 15 years, but I assume he's wrote stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, I assume it's really, really well written, but I assume that it's toxic and unlike makes my head want to explode.
Maybe a little Islamophobic, a little racist too.
Well, I mean, all I said, my only point is that I thought it, yeah, like I said, I agreed it was weird, not set up well, but that scene was well written enough to make it better than the worst thing ever, as far as just quality wise of this season so far.
I definitely think it's in the running for the worst.
Yeah.
I think there's some stuff, and there's some stuff that was elevated by quality acting.
The Space Hitler stuff I've said is the biggest, like, why are we making her so comfortable?
Yeah.
I'm a huge, like, let's just be honest. I'm a huge Michelle Yeoh fan. I'm a huge Jane Brooks fan. I like, Sarek was the main bad guy in True Detective season 2. Like, I mean, because
we love that. Well,
I have a smorgasbord of opinions on that.
Yeah.
And we all know Doug Jones is the fish that fucks.
Yeah, the fish that fucks. And I like the fish that fucks. And and Sonequa Margaret is fine. She's fine. My issues have never been with acting or or do I buy into these characters, or do the actors are trying to make strong
Now, Clint
decisions?
Fandango, on the other hand, he might be my least favorite actor on here.
He's a lump and piece of wood. Like, I don't understand why they make these young British actors fake American accents for no fucking reason. Just make him British so that he's acting
on all
he's acting in his goddamn native accent. I don't know why you have to.
He could just be from outside Bristol.
Right,
exactly. Why do you have to keep encumbranceing these people?
It's an
with this
international.
bullshit? Yes.
Right. Yeah. Don't get me started on all these Brits taking American roles, man. That's my.
Well, I get that they're cheap, and I don't even care about that. I don't. But like, I mean, I'm
stealing
fine
our
with that.
jobs,
But,
man. I'm not fine with it.
oh yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to take these jobs. So it's like it's like the other argument about.
If offer them to
They
me,
might
I'll
as well
take
be picking cabbages for all I care. But why make some of them can speak in why does all of the British actors on the show have to speak in English accents?
Well, because
or American?
CBS ain't trying to sell this shit to those Netflix subscribers across the pond. We got to get our subscribers here in the US of A.
I get making Jason Isaacs, give him an American. I mean, even though the second most famous captain in Star Trek has a British accent, but I get that. But like the Clint Fandango, let him fucking
All right, we have any more calls?
Let's see. I'll go to this one from Carly.
Hey guys, this is Carly from Pennsylvania giving you email this time rather than a call so I don't get cut off again. I had called earlier in the season to just sort of commiserate with James a little bit about how much I also hate this show, and that's pretty much hasn't changed. I don't know why I'm still paying to watch it, probably just because it's Star Trek and I feel like I'm invested at this point, but yeah, I am. So I guess I'm a sucker. Yeah, but I wanted to call in since it's the, penultimate episode and there's only one episode in the season left, just with some thoughts. I've been listening to your podcast the whole season and I've really enjoyed it. Even all of the bickering, it's entertaining. But I'm still, on board with the prediction. I think, mostly because I think it's the only thing that they can do if they're going to try to reconcile everything that's happened in the season so far with the rest of Star Trek canon, unless we're just going to go ahead and move forward with the either confirmation or assumption that this is in fact not happening in the Prime universe, because I really don't know how else you reconcile everything that has happened in Discovery, the, entire obliteration, more or less, of the Federation with the rest of Star Trek canon. It just doesn't seem possible to me. So it seems like some time travel shenanigans are about the only thing that they have left in order to make that all fit. So, but we shall see. That's a lot of crap to cram into one episode, and I don't know. I think I'd like to say that I'm done with it after this season. I'm certainly going to cancel my CBS All Access subscription after the final episode airs, but I can't say that I won't re-up when if they do premiere season 2. I guess it'll depend a lot on this final episode, but it's been frustrating because you guys have talked about it a lot, but I think the biggest disappointment is just how poorly written to me the show is, and it's all tell and no show. They tell us that we should feel a certain way about a character, and that's enough. They don't do anything to prove to us or to give us a real legitimate reason why we should care about that character. And that's just bad writing. That's writing 101 is show don't tell, and they have just broken that rule at every given opportunity. Never mind how much or how little you might personally feel like it actually feels like Star Trek. It's a bad show just in that regard, and that's upsetting and frustrating. But anyway, I'm not gonna waste your time bitching about how much I hate it. Just wanted to call in and let you guys know I've really enjoyed listening to you over the past however many weeks it's been, and if there is season 2 and I do tune in and you guys decide to do this to yourselves again, I'll tune in then too. All right, well, thanks for your time, your companionship. Bye-bye.
She brings up the show don't tell aspect, and I'm wondering if is that even, I guess
that's Adam's thing too. Adam's been saying that for a while.
Yeah, but there's something that's so bad. Is it a pitfall of serialization?
No.
Where you have to turn a card. Now listen, where you have to turn a card over. Like there's an egg timer on the action where you have to turn a card over at the end of every episode. So you have to race to these turns, these surprises, these that you can't. You know what I mean?
Right.
That you can never bring anything to a slow boil.
Well, that's kind of
because
serialization can do that, but this is so obsessed with being so action bang bang. If they wanted to, like I said, just slow it down and just we hang out with the characters and get to know them, and then at the end something big happens and that they have to contend with at the next episode.
They just have to, not even action, but reveals of everybody's nature, or somebody's neck gets snapped, or somebody dies from a tardigrade.
Right.
Some of it is in the moment. Part of me, and one of the things that I miss from this show that I get it from a lot of other shows. But one of the things that I get is that from it is this: a character doesn't say anything, but you get to look at them and you get to kind of feel what's about to happen. Or two characters are talking about something else. Maybe one character has shot his foot off to get out of duty and you're talking about that, but it's about something else. There are that's a joy that you have as a viewer is that you're experiencing it on two levels. You're listening to it from a facile level, and then you get it from an underneath level. And that show has not done that
no
ever.
at all.
Yeah, and I guess you can't do that if you're always racing to get to the next plot point.
Right, which they're so like worried about getting us off the hook, like, oh, we have to make sure that something actiony is always happening. We can't stop for a second. It's like, motherfucker, you already got my $8 a month. I'm locked in. Calm down. Slow. Like, I'm watching the shit. Okay.
Yeah,
Like-
it is. I mean, the pacing is. I mean, it also is why I think it drives people to write positive reviews. A lot of the positive reviews for the show have stopped the episode to episode ones. I noticed that, like, Soap on Deb fell off. A lot of people have fallen off the show of liking the direction of it. But I mean, I think that's what fueled some of the positivity, is because it was
exciting.
It was exciting.
Yeah.
But it is so empty of anything, of and that's what, that's ultimately what the show is. It's so empty.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it was the realization of not the episode we're talking about, but the last week's episode, is that the centerpiece, the core of what was the complication, the ethical and moral, interesting sort of core of the show was rotten.
Yeah.
And
yanked
so
out from
yeah. So it was just basically not there at all. And so now it's nothing to really talk about. There's nothing to really sort of, I mean, think about as you're flying off to bed. You can think about who's going to shoot who next week, or what planets are going to blow up next week.
Right. Will the prediction come true?
Yeah. Or that kind of shit. Or can I predict what it is? But you're not like chewing over like a complicated, like every now and then, like just like there's the conversations between Captain Jellicoe and Riker in Chain of Command. I just chew on them every now and then. They come up. Like, I don't know who's right or who's wrong. Like, or who's at any given moment. Like, it's just a thing that kind of pops up in me.
And for a while we thought
and
that
there's none of that in
we
here.
thought maybe there could be that with Lorca, but like, oh, we know who's wrong. He's wrong because he's Space Trump.
Yeah, that's what we all thought he was going to be Jellicoe, but it turns out he's just like fucking like F. Murray Abraham from Insurrection or something.
Right.
What other calls we got? We got any from Lane?
Yeah, we got one. We'll close it out with Lane, my brother, a real person.
A real human being.
Yes. Yeah, and he gets at a scene that was, I guess, a little bit contentious, even if none of us really liked it that much.
Lane for Discovery Home Companion again. Yeah. Well, let's see. James, I feel for you. I don't have much faith in the prediction. You got my hopes up, and then I remembered after listening to the prediction, you made me actually believe in something again, and I'd forgotten that the whole reason the prediction exists in the first place is because something already destroyed my faith in any sort of higher motivation. Going back to your analysis of, say, the stupid cafeteria scene, you're seeming to apply like some sort of we want to believe that there's some motivation and some driving through line to things. There isn't. That they wrote a cafeteria scene because they know how to write a stupid cafeteria scene from a shitty teenage drama movie. That's all it was. We're writing a romance. We have a cafeteria. Let's do the cafeteria scene. That's all that was. But so all this analysis of the higher motivations, it means this for the forgiveness is not the problem. It's shitty writing. There's no bigger thought of like, oh, it means the Federation or these people stand for this. It means they knew how to write a shitty cafeteria cliche. That's all it was. And similarly, like, I wanted to believe in the prediction. There is a through line. There's a higher motivation, even if it's a stupid motivation. There is a God, and he's an idiot. But no, there is no God in Star Trek Discovery. There is no through line. The prediction will fail because, as you say, it's not dumb enough. It actually holds things together. It doesn't matter. It's going to be and that'll be it. And then maybe by the time they get a new season around, they'll hire somebody who actually can know what they're doing. Who knows? Anyway, there's my thoughts. Still haven't watched Counterpart yet for the last episode. Looking forward to that. Anyway, so long.
So is the argument that Ash Tyler deserves empathy or sympathy from his fellow crewmates, is it the fact that he is sort of he's like Pinocchio. He's like a real boy now for the first time ever. And that he can make it like now he'll finally have the agency to be a good person.
Yeah, why not? He is changed. He's different than he was before, and they're giving him a chance.
Why? Why is he? He didn't have Vok in him before. He doesn't have Vok in him now.
I mean, it just means that Vok is just disconnected to him,
and he knows
he can still access the Vok files.
No, but he's aware it was hiding in him the whole time. Now he's aware of everything Vok knew, and he's a good guy now. Like he's been,
but a ticking time bomb and a spent time bomb are just as inert.
One's already one's.
Well,
one's
I don't think
off.
he's in. I don't know, man.
Yeah, fine. If you want to argue in Nerd Corner that we can't be sure, but the show has accepted that he's not the same person. They've accepted that he's not the same person. They're giving him a chance, and I think I agree with Lane. Like. It's not the forgiveness. I believe in forgiveness. I'm a guy that's very. But this episode, they knew how to write a dumb high school lunch scene, so they wrote one.
Let me say what that argument was about. That argument was about you saying they were evolved to accept him.
Yeah,
and I'm saying that was incredibly unsatisfying.
For you, it was. Yeah, and I'm saying that I don't know. I like that Tilly was forgiving. Yeah, but I thought it was a dumb scene.
So that was what I was arguing about. Is that this idea that they're evolved beyond this is a short ass like writer's trick to not have to like deal with like the emotional, because they don't know how to write emotional complication. Mm-hmm. They only know how to write Twilight fiction. So like Twilight romance basic stuff. So they don't know how to like do that. And that was the thing. It was just like, how would all of these fucking, like, there's not, like, sure, some of them may forgive him. I'm sure that that's true. But, like, is there not some people looking side-eye at him?
Yeah, they should have had that. I agree.
So, I mean, like, it just makes everybody seem like robots, not like real people. And so, well, I don't know. I can't relate to that shit.
Yeah. And I did rewatch it. And, and I was like, well, the scene was about Tilly. At the end of the scene, the director said, I think everybody should get up and go sit with him. And that is the dumbest fucking thing to do. I agree.
The theme is they need him on, like, he's going to go on an away mission next week. And so,
yes, he is.
And so they have to solve his problem. And just like they had to solve Burnham's earlier in the season. So they put people in these positions, and then they don't want to have to earn getting them out of the position. So then they just write this dumb shit.
Yeah.
And you know, and its collateral damage is that nobody feels real.
Yeah.
Scarface lady, like she's had a fucking trauma. She's already been on a ship. No, like what's her face?
Delmer.
No, Detmer.
She's already had a trauma. She's already had like PTSD, and she's already had a ship explode. Like, are you telling me that there's not part of her that's skittish?
I'm surprised that her mind didn't break when she saw her dead captain.
I know,
because she would like that's what.
So all of a sudden she's not like I'm not. I mean, the actress looks interesting. Like I want to know more about people. I want to know more about the people that's always in these scenes, because I don't like the people who are talking in the scenes.
Yeah.
So I guess that Detmer is like, I want to know more about Detmer, but it makes her seem like not a real person at all.
But if she opened her mouth with this writing, she risks the fate of meeting the of the other characters and being horribly uninteresting.
Yes.
You know, that's another thing about this.
Yeah.
The Starfleet recruits the smartest, the best people who go through rigorous training. And at this point, everybody on the Discovery is battle-tested, scientists and warriors. They've just come back from a mirror universe. They would all have to be dumb as a box of rocks to believe that their captain is back from the dead.
Yes,
right. The moment that they show up back up from a mirror universe. Like, no workplace where everybody's a smart scientist. Mm-hmm. You have to be like, to have a seat at the table, you know. You have to be the best of the best to be there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nobody at work, nobody's going to believe for a minute that that's their captain, right?
Well,
yep.
Except I bet who knows? Yeah, they shouldn't, but
I mean,
it's so
but
dumb.
They shouldn't.
Yeah, they really should. Yeah, it's.
We just came from a mirror universe. What are the odds that we get back from a mirror universe and we find our exact dead captain back? That's the same shit that the bad guys just fell for in the last, like the mirror universe we just came from.
Yeah. The fact that Saru shows up, or Michael says, "Oh, by the way, Lorca's a mirror guy," and everybody's like, and they all like come together and accept it pretty fast. Yeah. And then it's asinine if any of them
but
actually
they just
believe
watched Tilly put on a big show.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know.
Here's Burnham, your captain that was dead from.
Oh, it's
your captain that was dead.
That we know she was I mean,
it's incredible. It's the dumbest. Yeah, I agree. It's the dumbest thing ever. But
I mean, not even put the ethical thing aside.
It's not even complicated because Saru knew not to transport her back because her life signs had died. He could have focused on her and he chose not to because she was fucking dead.
Oh, right.
He had her life signs to prove it.
Right.
So
I mean, it's all about them accepting the chain of command that the admiral said that she's back,
so
and whether they buy that or not.
Is this the problem? Is that we turn on to Star Trek to watch people who nominally seem smarter than us?
Well, we don't know if they accept her or not yet. We can't say that they're dumb enough to.
I'm sure that Detmer stands up and goes, Are you treating us like we're fucking crazy, Jane Brooks?
Yeah.
Like, we know she's evil. We know that.
Yeah, but
we know that they know that Burnham from the mirror.
Cornwell's like, no, that's your captain. And right when she says that, Giorgio puts on a pair of sunglasses, turns down the dimmers on the bridge.
She burps a little bit, and a little bit of a Kelpian tendril comes out of her mouth. Oh, excuse me.
I mean,
those Kelpian farts that the captain's been letting go, just awful.
But they knew that the Emperor was Giorgio.
I don't know.
They know that she was interacting with Giorgio.
I know. I'm not. Yeah.
She had like a big old. She was on the view screen of the Discovery as the Emperor.
I know.
It's
just ridiculous. Yeah,
because the first thing that we jumped to was how ethical was it to have the most evil motherfucker from one universe and give them the best ship left.
Right.
And when we weren't even sussing out the ridiculousness of everybody believing it.
Right. Yeah. Because they had one
until just now.
Well, but you know what? I think maybe if the show might be dumb enough to where some of the bridge crew are like, because they had one scene when she first came on where Saru says to the pretty cool looking transporter operator, says, "All right, beam her there and don't tell anybody. This is super top secret. Nobody can know that we had her here." So she's in her hotel room. And they make a point in that scene to say, make sure that nobody knows about this. So nobody knows.
I understand that.
But yes, I agree. It's super. But the show might be dumb enough to think that's enough to make an excuse for it. But the fact is that if nobody on that bridge crew puts it together, they do not deserve to wear that uniform.
I'm saying not just the bridge crew, but the guy who cleans the toilets on the Discovery doesn't deserve to wear the uniform.
It's so dumb. I mean, it's so dumb that that's one of my whole problems is that, like I said, we watch Star Trek to watch smart people, right. And
I'm withholding judgment until I see that they're actually that stupid. I expect they might be, but I can't say that they are yet because it hasn't happened.
All right.
So what do you put the percentage chance of that the first scene is everybody going, "Don't treat us like we're fucking retarded"?
Oh, I put it at they can't set that kind of precedent because if the characters start asking those kind of questions, next thing you know, the audience starts asking, and then it all falls apart.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's
Christ.
true. I guess that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and also they're evolved humanity. They don't say shit like that anymore.
Don't treat us like we're developmentally disabled.
Yeah,
don't treat us like we are differently exceptional. Yeah,
man, I don't know.
Your positivity is inspiring.
I'm not positive, man. I'm just saying, let's not yell at them until they do the stupid thing, which they'll probably do. I don't want to give them any fodder to say, "Hey, that's not fair." There's one voicemail that I should have started with, but it was so far Tom has about the prediction that he sent like after he listened.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll see.
Okay.
Hey, gentlemen, this is Tom from Cleveland. Just heard your Saturday podcast on Discovery Home Companions. Thought I'd give you a call. Would like to say that I am a follower, a disciple of the prediction. But much like Martin Luther, I do have some slight additions. I think they're going to somehow use Ashvak and his fragmented consciousness. They're going to somehow send him back to the moment of Vak and Takuvma as a more woke Vak who may make some decisions that are different than our original hardcore Vak. And I think that's
like
how
Pure Days of Future
do
Pants.
the time travel thing. I think everybody who's been touched by the Cinnamon Toast Crunch network, my cereal network, will somehow get to retain their memories. So it'll be some kind of weird quantum leapy Swiss cheese sending consciousness back through time sort of thing. But anybody who's had connections with that network will get to retain their memories and maybe go back in time with them. That's what they get Burnham back there somehow. And I think Giorgio is also going to somehow find her way back to the path, the evil Giorgio, and the Empress, and will attempt to do something underhanded, only so they can bring the symmetry back of where Burnham, with Giorgio about to maybe fire onto Kuvma's ship, killing all the Klingons or something like that, and then Burnham will pull a phaser on her, on the evil Empress, and say, the Federation doesn't shoot first. And then if they want to go full 80s action style, but I do, and vaporizes evil Burnham. Long story short, they all celebrate the new timeline in the lunchroom. As they're turning with their trays to go sit down, the chef says, wait, you forgot your cookie. Turns around, reveal Lorca, who then says, you can't not consider the future. And he hands them a fortune cookie. Close scene. Whole new series about religion. Who knows? I'm done. The show's broken me. You can't just start over. We've had a whole season. You can't just reset everything. But I guess you can. All right, gentlemen. I'm going Team Wade. I don't agree with him. He just sounds... Wade's doing such a hell of a job. He's working hard on this podcast. He just sounds defeated. So put me on Team Wade. Have a good one. Later.
I was like, I don't need... Nope, I'll take it. Sure. Even if your heart's not in it, I'll accept all comers to Team Wade. Hashtag Team Wade. Yeah, but sorry. I think the term, if we're going to start talking about it, it's woke voke.
Woke voke, yeah.
Come on. It's obvious. Yeah, and they have said it's pronounced voke because I don't want it to sound like Spock. But woke voke. I think we're on to something. I think you're on to something, Tom.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking, like, how complicated would it be if the entire cast, if they did reset the timeline, it does go back 9 months, but the entire cast has a memory of it? That would be...
I think that makes sense.
I said that in the Discord. I said that...
It would be so complicated to write.
I'm more on board with it. I am more on board with the prediction if everybody on the ship retains memory.
But just think how complicated of a writing task that.
Well, it's not unprecedented.
It's not unprecedented, but it would be such a difficult writing task to do it. Yeah,
not really, because your ending is the same as First Contact. You go back to your timeline, and everything's put back to right, have to, and everybody on the bridge looks at each other and smiles and like sighs
because much baggage and so much stuff had to actually happen that it would just be.
This is Star Trek, man. They're pretty good at resetting and dealing with time travel anomalies and getting over it. You know,
I don't mean mechanically. I mean emotionally. Like it would be such a weird sort of like having Burnham herself sort of experience all of this sort of like growth, but also like sort of tragedy and personal like whatever would be interesting enough. But you compound that with Ash Tyler and all of these different things. It would be very, you either drop it and don't talk about it, and then so like what the fuck, who cares? And then or you deal with it and you run the risk of just dealing with it really poorly. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that's not a I don't believe it or do believe it. It's I just think like as an emotional writer thing that would be difficult.
I mean, well, one, if they felt the need to slow down and actually deal with what characters think about stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they just ignore it, then
that's not something the show's
too.
done. They don't have to ignore it. They just, I don't know. They can. I mean, yeah, it might be hard to do a whole Dark Knight of the. I don't know. I don't see why they couldn't do it.
I'm not saying that way. They can. They can do it in two different ways. They can either write it intensely and fail. I mean, they can win. They can do it well. That's one thing they could do. They could do it and do like, Stamets is constantly traumatized by having to get over that he lost Culbert, but now Culbert's back. And
the Culber sticky wicket. We forgot.
Yeah, and so like that's a lot of the stuff.
Culber's coming back in some form, whether he's growing as like Culber Groot on Tilly's shoulder, or if he's or if the prediction like brings him back.
So
either way, he's coming back somehow.
So I mean, you have to like you either have to like write. You either give that emotional intensity some outlet or you don't, and you just say, it's like the way Voyager, like by the end of whatever, it didn't, like all of the trauma of what they went through just fucking didn't matter, and from what I've been told. And so
no, that moment had real weight to it. But when they finally get home,
no, I don't mean the end.
I don't think it's an either or. Like they either do it well or they do it poorly. I think
we're arguing about what might happen and how they handle it, and we have no clue.
I'm arguing just about the complication. I mean, I guess I was just right from a writer standpoint. That would be, I mean, that's a hardest way to do it, and so that's what I think.
Yeah, that. Are you saying that these people who wrote this show might have not have made the best choices, James? Is that what you're saying?
Or do you just go?
Did they write themselves into a corner?
Or do they know they're like at this point? Maybe this show bit off more than they could chew in second season. You're like, oh, you're not. This show shouldn't be batting in the 4th slot. This show should be batting in the 6th slot. Take pressure off of you.
I think what's going to happen is that their overarching theme of Star Trek Discovery is going from, and they've said as much, is going from a dark place to a light place, and the light place ends up literally light because you've got a bunch of white guys in charge and TOS. But
right.
So I think that they'll be pretty happy leaving the Federation decimated and all their forces decimated and rebuilding over the next few years over the TV show and striving to get things better.
So wait, you mean that when they say that they're moving towards the light, it means they're going to destroy everything?
I think they're making it as dark as I'm thinking they're making it as dark as possible to throw some adversity in there for the Federation to overcome cheerier and more velour.
Yeah.
Right, so I don't. That's why I don't think that the time travel is going to happen. And I think that when Culber comes back, it's going to probably have to do something dumb in the mycelial network,
which then they have to shit can.
Yeah. Well.
All right. Well. I bet you if they shit can the mycelial network, it'll have to be like Stamets has to make a choice to like pull his boyfriend out of there alive. It will kill the network. And so he kills the network,
but he can't just. You can't kill the network because the network kills every living thing in all of the multiverse.
He closes the path to.
Well, you cut.
So essentially, Stamets is the anti-monitor from the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
He is. Yes, that's right. He chooses love over everything. Yeah, I don't think I do not. I'm going to go on record. I want the prediction to come true because I think it would be amazing for our podcast to have such a high batting average with predictions. And this is the grandest prediction of them all. My gut feeling is it's not going to happen. I am officially on the other side of the prediction fence. I'm going on record as saying this much.
It's fine. I get everybody's reasons. I still think they're going to do it because it's a path of least resistance.
Yeah, I want to believe so badly, but
Nothing is more Star
real-
Trek by looking to time travel to fix all your problems. So I do see your
Right,
your logic, because that is extremely Star Trek.
I won't believe it until I can. I'm a doubting Thomas until I can put my hand in the wounds.
Well,
and know for certain.
So
I just
here's
can't believe
the question
it.
I would ask you then, and I know this is a big if because your response is going to. If I just ask the question outright, your response is going to be obvious. So you cannot say they're just not going to, James. How would you not do time travel but bring the story to a cohesive end point at the end of the series before you have a cliffhanger? How do you bring it to the cohesive standpoint while tying up all of, like, giving some sort of thematic scope to the season?
Well, I would say that we're working with that with Ash Vok and his choice and resolving thing with the Klingons. Obviously, Ash Vok is going to be key to coming up with a ceasefire to end the war.
Yeah, woke voke.
With who?
Woke voke is going to
With Klingons, just Klingons that we meet next week.
Takuvma will have to be Takuvma.
Takuvma's dead,
and his prophecy. And
Cole is dead.
I know that, motherfucker. I've been watching the show. Takuvma and his prophecy has united the houses, and now they're in disarray. So I would imagine that somehow Voke, being the torchbearer, will have some fucking key to uniting the houses again and ending this shit.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah. Somebody unites the houses. That's all.
And then then the season will be about choice and identity. And
but my issue with that is that whatever the seeds for that key has to, you need
Klingons.
Well, that's one point, but another point is that if he has some like Vok, like there is no. Do you know like the key to breaking the code for the Klingons? Like you're saying that has to be like set and achieved all in one episode, because there's no Vok theory that's dangling around in episode 4.
Well, they made a point to say that he has access to all the Vok files.
Yes.
So I imagine the Vok files, that's like,
and that will fix
we'll
into
have
my
to come
prediction
back up to fix.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying, but it's going to come out whole cloth.
I mean, I don't have. It's not my job to fix this shit
No,
pile.
I'm asking you in your mind. Just asking you in your mind. Could you do that? Could you tie it all together?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I just think. Yeah. I mean, I think it's loose enough that.
Yeah, we're not arguing it's going to be set.
I threw that out as an answer. So I wanted to see.
2 weeks ago, if I said that they were going to jump back through the mycelial, they're going to go back to their prime universe and jump around the mycelial network, you would have to say, so you're saying that in the next hour they're going to have to find a way to get more spores.
Oh my God,
and
you're
more.
right.
And I'm like, well, I guess fuck yeah, James, they'll figure out some way to do this shit. I'm just saying that they won't use time travel just because I can't conceive of it on a Wednesday night.
Well, I'm not.
That doesn't mean they're not going to do it,
shitty.
or it's
I'm just saying,
unlikely.
like, how would you? Like, I can't.
I don't know. I mean, I guess there's probably going to be some religious aspect of it because the houses have fallen away from the path that Takuvma set forth. Laurel was just appalled by that idea when she found that piece of information out. I'm sure that'll come into play. Vok has access to Ash has access to all those files, and he's wanting to get in the good graces of everybody. So I'm sure he'll do whatever it takes, and maybe even a self-sacrifice to do so.
Yeah.
Oh, because Michael broke up with him and he can't do it alone, like he says. He's going to go to his other girlfriend and turn back into a Klingon, and then go solve the Klingon.
After Michelle beats the shit out of her and puts a gun to her head.
Oh yeah, I like
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty wild stuff.
Yeah.
Did you guys? Yeah. All right. Well, do we need to give people a way to get a hold of us and remind them about our awesome Patreon campaign before we go?
Oh yeah. Give us a call. We got this final episode, and then we want to hear what you think about that for sure. So give us a call at 917-408-3898. Or send us an email, or you can record something, send it to us at rulesofacquisitionpodcast@gmail.com. And check out, if you want to support the show, go to our Patreon at patreon.com/kickersofelves. Check out our Much Ado About Nothing podcast series about Frank Herbert's Dune, and check and do all the other things that every podcast asks you to do. So, yeah.
All right.
Take that.
Any final thoughts before we beam out of this bitch?
Woke.
By the end of next week, I will either be triumphantly exuberant over just getting something right, despite how I feel about it,
right?
Or
do we need to make a bet about you touching?
No, I was trying to. I had suggested on text that maybe I don't watch the show, and then I come on the podcast and you make me have to guess things. That could be fun too.
You're just trying to get out.
I would have to spend more time. I would have to spend more time struggling.
No. We all need to come in Sunday night, and we need to sort this shit out. There's no way you're getting. No way. Or
we do 20 minutes of that, and then I go watch the episode. No, that's fine. All right. Yep. Cool.
All right. Well, thanks again for listening to A Discovery Home Companion. We appreciate your calls. Please join us next week as we unpack the season finale. For Wade, James, and myself, 3 to beam out.
I don't want to get over you. I guess I could take a sleeping pill and sleep back well and not have to go through what I go through. I guess I should take Prozac right and just smile all night. Somebody new, somebody not too bright, but sweet and kind, who would try to get you off my mind. I could leave this agony behind, which is just what I'd do if I wanted to, but I don't want to get over you.
Subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher or Caster or Fuckcast or Podsucker. Review us on iTunes. Also grab a bit of fame for yourself by calling us at 917-408-3898 and leaving us a message. We play that shit on air. Or email us at rulesofacquisitionpodcast@gmail.com. Also, listen to our Deep Space Nine podcast Rules of Acquisition. It is pretty amazing, but you may not yet be ready for its awesome amazingness. Assess your personal awesomeness appropriately.